Good afternoon, you beautiful, sexy, lighthearted, fun, wonderful people out there. It's Saturday afternoon. I am live a little bit earlier than I said I would be. I lied. What else is new? I said 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 2:18 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll get over it, okay? I got a place to be after this. Therefore, I wanted to jump on a little bit earlier because today what we're doing is we're running through a fast puppy draft on Underdog, which is an 18-team, 18-round draft. We'll throw it up on the screen for y'all right now. As we're talking through the picks, though, I haven't made a video about the coaching changes in the NFL yet. I haven't made a video about offensive coordinator changes. You know, I've touched on them with some of the players thus far, but not at a more in-depth, granular look, right? We've got a lot of movement. And this is becoming rampant over the last few years where people need their fix now. They're like, if you're not the greatest head coach of all time after one single year, you're out. So we've got a lot of swaps. We've got a lot of movement. We've got new head coaches. We've got new offensive coordinators in damn near half of the offenses in the NFL. So as we're drafting, I'm gonna try my best to build a team around players that have new schemes, new systems, new offenses, new coaches, so that I could dive a little bit deeper and I could yap about those changes. All right. So we're gonna jump right in. And if anyone out there wants to be an absolute fucking legend and timestamp as I talk about the coaches or the teams, and just drop it like in the comments after the YouTube video, that would be fantastic. So people who come onto the video afterwards and they're looking for a specific situation, that would be cool. We're going to jump onto Underdog. And if you are curious which tournament we're going to be drafting from, it is the Fast Puppy. They have a max entry of 150 entrances. It's only $5 to enter. Like I said, it's 18 rounds. The starting roster will be one quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a flex, a tight end, and then you have 10 bench spots. Pretty normal standard settings, half PPR as well. So the standard stuff for Underdog Fantasy, but the beautiful part about this one is it's fast. It's rapid. 20 seconds per pick, which is one of the more beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. These things fill so quickly. If you are not drafting on Underdog Fantasy, you are moving in slow motion. You're moving backward. I literally just joined the draft and I'm already in a fucking draft. It's already started, all right? So that's what happens. People are so rampant to do these drafts that the minute you click join draft, there are 96 people in there, okay? So if you're new to Underdog, this is the single best way to get your nut off for fantasy at this point in the summer. Every draft is paid. There are huge tournaments going on. There are huge payouts going on at all times. So if you're new to Underdog, go to the Underdog Fantasy app Store, iOS, Android, don't matter, underdogfantasy.com. Download it, throw $10 in there, and you will get a nice fat deposit match on there. So you'll be able to enter 3-4 fast puppies. And if you're in our Discord, you'll be able to draft with us as we drop in random $3 drafts throughout the week. But most importantly, if it's your first time on Underdog Fantasy and you use the code BDGE when you deposit, you're getting our draft guide absolutely free. And we are about 11 days out from draft guide drop day. How you doing? Draft guide drop day. Ooh, we're on the turn, the 112 to 21. So you think I'm speaking fast now. I haven't even hit my stride yet, okay? So as I said, we'll try to get through a lot of the coaching changes. We'll try to talk about some nuances here, and we'll have a little bit of fun. I haven't opened up the comment section yet, so I don't know what's going on here. How you doing? Harbaugh isn't going to whiff on this year's draft. All right, we've already got chatter in the box. Where should I put this comments section? I'm going to put it right down here over me. I'm going to put me here. Here's what we're going to do. We'll put the big board up. Bijan Robinson's already gone. That breaks my heart. And then I will draft from my phone so we can do everything here all at once. Everybody, every person, all the time. Drafting from the 112, which is actually my least favorite spot in the world to draft from on Underdog this year, because you just get a pick of a bunch of kind of shitty players that probably don't deserve to be first-round picks, but they're really all you've got here. Garrett Wilson goes at the 10. Was kind of hoping I can grab him there. Come on. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, I don't hate this because Puka falls to me down at the 112. So I'm going to put in my queue for my first pick. And then I'm going to do something a little bit different here just so I can kind of talk about the coaching change for the second pick that I have here. We're going to let Marv move past us. We're going to let Jonathan Taylor move past us. We're going to take Chris Olave at the 2-1. Now, Chris Olave, Saints offense, they were pretty atrocious last year. They got rid of their offense coordinator, and they brought in Clint Kubiak. Now, Clint Kubiak runs an extremely play-action heavy offense, an extremely motion-friendly offense. And here's the thing. Everybody loves every coaching change. It's kind of like draft picks, right? Like every time your favorite team drafts a player, you start to talk yourself into the upside of everything and every player all at once. That's the theme of today's video. So we talk about the upside, we talk about the downside. Obviously, Derek Carr is still there, but I also think a lot of what makes a good offense is what happens pre-snap. And as a coach, you've got to make things as easy as possible for the players, okay? Especially if you're Derek Carr and you're just not talented anymore. They run a ton of play action in Clint Kubiak's offense. So I think that is one thing that will open up some more deep shots for Chris Olave, some more deep shots for Rashid Shaheed. I think that's the bull case here for the Saints and for what can happen in this new style of offense, because it can't get any worse than last year. Everything just ran through typical dropbacks, shotgun, dump off to Alvin Kamara, where I think with the way that this offensive scheme could be a little bit different this year, play action will also help mitigate the pressure that they're going to let up on the offensive line. Because the Saints offensive line, this will be really the first time in what feels like, actually last year they weren't great, but really feels like the fall off is here for their O-line after having a decade's worth of really high quality play on the offensive line for the Saints. So really heavy play action tends to mitigate really poor offensive line play. So, see what else is going on. Drake London at the 2, Taylor at the 2-3, Marv at the 2-4, Nico, Waddle, Saquon, Debo, Devontae, Achane, and Kyron both going in the second. That's maybe the first time I've actually seen that in an underdog draft. That's a really nice turn for Hurdy. Hurdy got C-Mac at the 1-1 and then was able to get Evans and Ayuk back-to-back at the turn there. Ian Crack is going with the double running back stack. Interesting. I took MHA at 16, and I feel like it was a reach. He usually doesn't fall that far in drafts. You get him at the 16, he's usually on the turn there. Someone said, does anyone feel like Puka is a reach at 112? It's kind of funny how fantasy works, because every time I get back into fantasy, right, the NFL season kind of wraps up after the Super Bowl, and then I'll typically take a month off of anything redraft, anything really fantasy football related outside of Dynasty. I get into the rookies, and when I come back and look at Underdog ADP, I'm always fucking shocked by how early some players are going. Puka, of course, was one of those. I think when the spring started, he was the 109 or the 110. He's since moved down a little bit, but the more I look at the situation and the more I look at what he really did last year, I'm super okay taking him at the end of the 1-2 turn. He broke every single record. The system is flawless there for McVay. He's just a younger version of Cooper Kupp, and I think they're going to continue using him in the role that made Cooper Kupp so good. There goes Pittman. Are we going to be able to get anyone good here? Let's see. I'm going to do something a little bit out of the ordinary here that I don't think I've seen a ton of. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts, who I think needs to stop falling into the 4th round, to be completely honest with you. And then I'll take Pacheco because he's my favorite player just straight up left on the board. So we talk about Jalen Hurts. I've talked a little bit about the Eagles offense and Kellen Moore in particular. Now, Kellen Moore's offense, Kellen Moore was the OC in LA last year. Kellen Moore was the OC for quite a while with the Dallas Cowboys. in like the 3, 4, 5 years prior. And pretty much every single year, Kellen Moore runs a very fast-paced offense, and the offense runs a ton of plays. They run a lot of no-huddle. They run a lot of just up-tempo. And, like, it is just a perfect match. You want Jalen Hurts in an up-tempo offense. You want Jalen Hurts running a lot of plays. You want this offense on the move. They have just phenomenal athletes in this offense. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. Like, they want to run this up-tempo, right? And I think, like, this is going to be fun. Even if you don't think Kellen Moore is great at, like, play calling, that's fine. This is not an offense that needs to be elevated. This is an offense of players that do the elevation themselves. They're, like, probably the best personnel offense in the entire league. So, absolutely love the Jalen Hurts offense. T-Rock says, the only thing about the Rams is they have a murder row of opponents at the end of the schedule. Here's the thing about this. Everybody looks at every game, and this is kind of to the point I said before where it's like, we're just looking at the good stuff of everything. Philly's pass defense was terrible last year, right? Like, we look at all these on paper and we're excited. Buffalo got rid of probably 80% of their fucking defensive starters last year. Tre'Davious White is not there anymore. They don't have real cornerbacks there. San Francisco, believe it or not, their secondary wasn't good last year. Arizona was an atrocious secondary last year too. So, like, honestly, there's not a single game on here except for the New York Jets that I'm actually scared for the Rams offense. No way is Kellen Moore worse than for Hurts. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think it can get much worse, and I just feel like the up-tempo for Hurts and the Eagles offense is going to be beautiful. Amari Cooper is a crazy value there. I saw a few comments on Amari Cooper, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about the Browns offensive coordinator change because Cleveland is bringing in – they got rid of Alex Van Pelt, who is going over to the Browns – who is going over to the Patriots, and the Browns bring in Ken Dorsey. Now, Ken Dorsey, when he was running with Buffalo, obviously he got let go because the team just wasn't running very efficiently or smoothly, but from a fantasy perspective, they were still explosive. They were still running a lot of plays. They were a spread offense, and if you look at the way that Josh Allen played last year, and if they're trying to do that with Deshaun Watson this year where they're spreading it out, they for sure have the personnel to do that. They could be a Buffalo light, where it's Deshaun Watson, obviously, is Josh Allen, and then you have Amari Cooper as the Stephon Diggs, Jerry Jeudy, either Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman. You have Jerome Ford as a pass catcher. I think moving from Alex Van Pelt, who is very much like stuck in his ways of being a run-heavy, run-first coach, to Ken Dorsey, who is more open-minded, more spread offense, I think will work much better with the personnel that they have in Cleveland. So I would say, yeah, that's probably a positive for Amari Cooper. All right, we're almost at the turn here. So far, we have Puka, Olave, Jalen Hurts, Isaiah Pacheco. I don't love the value here at wide receiver. I feel like you're kind of reaching on Reed. You're reaching on Calvin Ridley. You're reaching on a lot of these guys, so I kind of feel uncomfortable taking any of them this early, and maybe we'll wait on wide receiver until the next turn because I do feel like tell me I got him on the queue. Tell me I got him. All right, I got Georgie there. That's fine. And then I'm actually going to go with another running back. So I took George Kittle and Rachaad White at the turn here. I've talked a lot about Rachaad White. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose Dave Canales. He's moving over to Carolina, and I know a lot of people are kind of upset about that, and they feel like the Tampa Bay offense is kind of going to flutter, and Dave Canales was the quarterback whisperer, and Geno Smith, and all this kind of shit. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring in Liam Cohen. He is a much younger guy. I'm trying to pull up his tree right now. This is the other thing with whenever you listen to or watch any like coaching breakdown videos or pieces of content, everyone is also like, oh, this guy was in the McVay tree. He was in the Shanahan tree. Therefore, we're like really optimistic about it. Here's the thing. Like 90% of the time, the players are the ones that make the offense good or the ones that make the offense bad for the most part. But I'd much rather my guys be aligned with McVay or Shanahan or those like forward-thinking progressive coaches. So with the Bucs offense, Liam Cohen does come over from the Rams. He was with McVay over there for I think 4 or 5 years. So when they have that experience, they see what works, they see what is successful. I have to imagine that when you're young and malleable, right, like those are the most impactful years. If you've only been in the league for 10 years and you were in a specific spot for 4 or 5 years and you had a lot of success in that half decade, you're probably going to take what worked there and move that into your offense. So I'm not overly concerned. He's, I think, like 36, 38 years old or some shit. So I would imagine a lot of his philosophy is going to come from learning from McVay. So I'm not overly concerned about this Tampa Bay offense. I'm not overly concerned about Dave Canales leaving, despite how everybody's making it out to seem like it's the biggest move of all time in the history of the NFL. George Kittle, I'm maybe a lot of you guys will ask, oh my God, you're taking Kittle over Pitts? Like, that's the easiest decision I've made all day. Easiest decision I've made all day. You won't find me drafting Pitts over Kittle one time in this entire fantasy offseason. I'm good. I'm not good. I'm a Falcons fan, so I'm never good. But, like, I'm good on that, okay? I'm good on taking Kyle Pitts over George Kittle because George Kittle's just been a beast year over year over year. Here's the thing. George Kittle, I feel like George Kittle has this injury-prone label where it's just not true. He's been in the league for 7 years, and he has played at least 14 games in 6 of the 7 years. Like, he's banged up often, but if any of you guys watched, I highly recommend you go watch the Netflix show Receiver. It's just like the quarterback show, but they follow Kittle and Debo. They follow Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams throughout all of last year. And what was very clear to me with the San Francisco 49ers offense is while Brandon Ayuk very well might be the most talented player on that offense, the offense does not run through him. The offense pretty much runs through everybody else. It's C-Mac obviously getting his touches, but in the passing game, the plays are typically schemed up for Debo and then George Kittle. George Kittle will always be a part of that passing game. He is such a big deal in that offense, and if you want to say that he's going to get hurt, cool. Go do your thing. I don't care. But like I said, I think the way that people talk about his injury proneness or just the amount of time he misses, like, he's going to get banged up. If you watch that show, like, everybody's banged up every fucking play. That's like all that happens in the NFL is everybody just gets fucked up all the time. So he's tough as fuck. He plays through it all the time. They run plays through him. So I'm good on Kittle here. God damn it, I wanted Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now I do need to probably start peppering some wide receiver action a little bit. Keon, okay. I don't have any Jordan Addison, so I'm going to take him with one of my picks here, I think. And then what's the quarterback situation looking like? Ooh, Dak is there. I already took Jalen Hurts, actually. I do not need a QB yet. So we'll probably, despite I hate the value here at wide receiver, just kind of all around, to be honest with you. But you know what? I'm actually going to take James Conner. So I took Jordan Addison. I took James Conner. So at this point, I have my quarterback, my tight end, and I've got 3 and 3 at the wide receiver and running back position. When you get this far into these drafts, it's so obvious who the best player available on the board is. And I know it does not cater necessarily to the way that the lineups work in Underdog, where it is start 3 wide receiver, but you also get a flex spot, and this is also half PPR, which lends itself to being touchdown dependent, way more than like full PPR type, where Ladd McConkey's going 2 full rounds earlier than James Conner. Don't make much sense to me. Everything we're hearing out of camp in Arizona is that James Conner is like the clear one there. And unless something happens to him, Trey Benson's probably not going to make a huge impact immediately. This is my first share of Jordan Addison, I think, this entire offseason. Now he's starting to move down a little bit because of the driving problems or whatever. He got arrested for maybe driving under the influence, or he was like sleeping in a car by the airport or something like that. He was like an early 6th round pick, and now I'm getting him, borderline 8th round. So I'll take the spots where I can get him, just because it's hard to be high on this passing offense right? It's like smoking a cigarette. You're not going to get high on it. It's just impossible. But it could be very concentrated because Hawkinson's going to be out. They don't really have a run game. Love Aaron Jones, but I just don't think it's going to be very successful this year. So regardless of if it's Darnold, if it's J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson are probably going to combine to see 20 targets a game. Most of that's going to go to Jefferson, but I don't think Addison's just going to be left for dead. Now, does he get suspended? That's very possible. It's possible. It feels like it kind of went under the radar, like it wasn't a big deal. You kind of just think of like things that happen in the cars as subtle and not something where players get in a ton of trouble for unless someone gets hurt. But there's a possibility Jordan Addison gets a suspension because this is not his first time getting in trouble in a car. Shout out to you. I'm hearing that the Vikings are going to be giving him a team suspension. Okay. Press conference scheduled with Kwesi and O'Connell Monday morning. All right. Well, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like a lack of knowledge. I did see somewhere maybe last week that he could get a 2-3 game suspension. So it's whatever. I'll take the belt to the fucking ass on that one. How do you like K-Dubs with the new head coach? All right, so we could talk about Seattle. Let me make my picks on the turn here, and then we'll jump into a little Seattle action. Maybe I'll take nope, Lockett's not available anymore. Let's see what we got. I kind of wanted to take Tony P. Who can we take and also talk about the coaching? Yeah, and if any of you guys have any specific questions or if you have any specific coaches you want me to talk about, you can drop them down below. I got a terrible idea. I have an awful idea right now. Are you guys ready? You guys ready for the worst shit you've ever seen in your whole life? Yeah, we're going to do that. It's not good. It's not good, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to take Shaheed to stack up with Chris Olave, and then we're going to take Derek Carr as our QB2 much later on, and then we will solidify our tight end position with Dallas Goedert. We talked about Dallas Goedert. We already have Jalen Hurts. We talked about that Philly offense being much more up-tempo. We've talked about Rashid Shaheed and the Saints and bringing in Clint Kubiak and going much more play action, pass-heavy, etc. Let's see. We said Harbaugh Chargers. Yeah, so this is probably one of the more the more impactful changes of the entire offseason. Obviously, with Harbaugh and Greg Roman coming over, they are going to be one of, if not the most run-heavy offense in the entire NFL. Every personnel move that they made this offseason just screams that. Getting rid of all of their passing weapons, right? They made the decision to let Allen, Williams, Eckler, Everett walk and keep Mack and Bosa. All right, so they had a decision to make between the offense and the defense. And the way I'm looking at this passing game for the Chargers is they're taking one step back this year to make sure that they take 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward next year and the year beyond. It's letting all those passing weapons go. It's also opting to go with Joe Alt over a Malik Neighbors who was available when they had their first round pick. It's all of these moves start to add up to say, like, what success. They have the worst weapons group in the NFL, bar none. It's not even close. They have awful running backs with absolutely no ceiling. They have awful wide receivers, maybe not completely awful wide receivers, but wide receivers with very little ceiling. They don't have a tight end to catch passes. Like, it's bad over there, okay? So I think I keep hearing, like, oh, the Justin Herbert narrative is being overblown. It's not just the coaching. It's the combination of all of this. So, yes, I think they're going to shove the ball into the backfield a million times. How is that split up? I don't really know because I don't know that they have the talent for it. But I will say, trying to be objective, and if that's the way I'm thinking about this offense, then I probably need to grab a couple shares of J.K. Dobbins and grab a few shares of Kamani Vidal. Like, you just got to do it, you know? We were talking about who else? Who else? What about a lack of coaching change with the Bears keeping Eberflus? Think that was the right idea. So they brought in a didn't they bring in a new OC? Excuse me for not knowing off the top of my head. Bears offensive. Okay, yeah, they brought in Shane Waldron as the offense coordinator. He was the OC in Seattle last year. I will say I'm a little bit skeptical about it. It's going to be hard for him to fuck it up, just how good the personnel in Chicago is. But there are some comparisons to be made there because you're running the Seattle offense, who had three really talented receivers last year, JSN, Lockett, and DK Metcalf, and now you're running likely a three wide receiver offense in Chicago with Rome, with DJ Moore, with Keenan Allen, and he was atrocious at using Jackson Smith and Jigba last year. JSN's ADOT was like, I think 1 yard, like actually 1 yard downfield. So in terms of like running the offense, yeah, I could definitely be skeptical for how this passing game is going to function based on what we saw last year. So Eberflus, if he's running the offense, then maybe it's not much of a change, but I think Waldron is going to be the play caller there. We're almost back up on the clock. We probably need some wide receivers. What do we got here? It's not great. All right, I'm gonna get one of my guys. I have very little Jerry Jeudy, but the problem with Jeudy is, okay, if they end up going far more, oh, you know what? We're just gonna triple double down on this goddamn Cleveland offense. Jerome Ford's way too good of a value down here to pass up on. If they go more spread, and the fact that they just gave Jerry Jeudy this massive deal for absolutely no reason, he's top 5 cones in the league, and that's not a positive thing. I mean, he's going to run 80% of the routes. So that's a problem for me. That's not what I meant. That's not it. That's about as good as it's going to get. This is like the last chance for Jerry Jeudy to have a real chance at being like a playmaker in the NFL. Got the contract. Watson, hopefully healthy. Let the boy rip. We had some Dobbins over Gus Edwards. I'm probably not going to do that, but I don't like where Gus Edwards is going at all. Commanders with Cliff, good for Daniels. All right, so I've found out very clearly that I am very much in the minority here with the fact that I hate this move. I hate all the coaching changes in Washington, and I'll tell you why. One, they brought in Dan Quinn to be their head coach. Dan Quinn was awful as our head coach in Atlanta. He ran a good defense in Dallas when he had elite players, and that was the only focus that he had. When he was in Atlanta, we had one of the worst defenses. When he was the DC in Seattle, they were great. When he was the head coach in Atlanta, we were fucking awful. When he was the DC in Dallas, they were great. Now he's a head coach again. They're bringing Cliff Kingsbury. And here's the fucking thing. People talk about Cliff Kingsbury as if he's a quarterback whisperer. He had Mahomes in college, and Mahomes had his like worst year in college under Cliff Kingsbury. He had Caleb Williams last year at USC. Caleb Williams took a massive step back statistically last year under Cliff Kingsbury. So he's been able to coach really good quarterbacks, but they're worse under him. He had success in his first year or two under in Arizona with Kyler Murray. They were just a horizontal offense. They did not throw the ball more than 4 yards down the field, and NFL teams figured that out within the year, and then the man couldn't adapt for fucking anything. So my problem with this coaching staff is I just think they fucking stink. I don't like either of them individually. They also have one of, if not the worst offensive line, and one of, if not the worst defense in the league. Okay, so I'm scarred. Like, I remember Dan Quinn when our defense was terrible. We would let up 40 fucking points a game, which means your offense doesn't have a lot of time. And when you have a bad offensive line, your quarterback's going to be living in hell. So I'm out on Jaden Daniels at his current cost. Where'd he go in this draft? Has he been picked yet? Yeah, okay. He went all the way up at the fucking 8-11. Like that's the hardest pass since a goddamn Josh Allen 5 yards down the field. Come on. Come on, fall to me. Come on, baby. There's only one player I fucking want right now. There's only one player I want, and I'm about to pop off if I get him. Let's fucking go. Dude, I almost took Pop Douglas. I almost took Mr. Poppy on the last turn. Lo and behold, we're fucking back, baby. Baby, we're back. Deshaun Watson already went? Zam. Who did I say I was going to get? Derek Carr? That's not a great strategy to go into a year and say, hey, let's take Derek Carr. Oh, shit. Okay, I can live with that. I like D-Rob. What else we got going on? How important is tight end depth if our league has a wide receiver tight end flex instead of a third wide receiver? Or should I focus on 3 wide receivers instead? I wouldn't say it's any more important at all. Because you're very rarely, unless it's tight end premium, unless you're getting premium points for just the tight end position, there's going to be so few weeks where you're actually starting a second tight end. I would almost, like, if you were in a league that didn't even specify having just a tight end, like you only needed to start one player in that flex spot and didn't need to be a tight end, I don't even know if I draft a fucking tight end. So I would definitely focus on receivers. So with the OC out in Seattle, do you like JSN more this year? Yeah, 100 times more. I mean, they've got a whole new coaching staff coming in. They got McDonald coming over from Baltimore to be their head coach. So you have someone who's very good defensively and can focus on that side of the ball. And then you have why is his name slipped? Ben Grubb, right? The Washington offensive coordinator. Am I tripping? Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb is the offensive coordinator for Seattle now, who comes from Washington. And Washington ran their neutral script pass rate at a very, very high rate. They were just one of the most explosive offenses in all of football last year. They threw the ball at a very high rate. They did it very successfully. They threw it downfield very often. And they did it with 3 wide receivers at a very high rate. I think they operated at a 3 wide receiver set like 78% of the time last year, which was a very high rate. And it's because they had 3 receivers go in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, right? Rome, Polk, Jalen McMillan. And now you have 3 very, very, very good receivers in Seattle. So I'd imagine he runs that offense the same way with Lockett, JSN, and DK. How the targets really get dispersed, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to figure out if everybody's on the field at the same time. I actually feel like because JSN will get the easiest targets, it won't be that dissimilar from when he played in college, right? Remember in Ohio State, he excelled because he was running basically the same role that he's going to be in Seattle this year. When he was in Ohio State, you remember the 2 outside wide receivers while he ran exclusively from the slot? They were pretty fucking good. It was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. That team's fucking insane. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, JSN, Marvin Harrison, CJ Stroud. Like, goddamn, I know people are like, nah, college teams will never be NFL teams. That's like an all-pro NFL team at college. That's out of control, thinking back on it. I actually don't even know if all those guys overlap, but I know they were within a year or so of each other. I know JSN, Olave, and Wilson played together, but the rest of them I might just straight up be lying about. But you know. All right, so we're sitting here. We've got 7 wide receivers, so we've kind of turned the corner there and made sure we stacked up pretty quality depth. We've got Hurts as our QB1. We've got Kittle and Goddard as a tight end, so we don't need to touch the tight end position again. We have 4 running backs only, but they're good running backs. Pacheco, Rashad White, James Conner, Jerome Ford. I feel good about this team. I think what I'm going to do is probably hit 1 more wide receiver just to make sure I pepper that depth a little bit. And I know who the perfect wide receiver is going to be to continue this coaching talk. I know who the perfect fucking wide receiver is going to be for it. Let's go! Oh, there goes J.K. Dobbins, speaking of. How you doing? No, I'm not a fan of the Washington offense whatsoever. I could be wrong. Everybody seems to love Jaden Daniels. Everybody seems to love Cliff Kingsbury. I just don't know what we've seen that would make anyone like them. Bang, skeet, skirt. And then, yeah, we'll have to do that, unfortunately. Let's see. Shout out. Someone brought up Khalil Herbert earlier. I like Khalil. Tyler Boyd. Let's talk about Tennessee a little bit. So Tennessee is now operating under Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan was the offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, we're talking about that McVay, that Shanahan tree, that spread offense. This couldn't be a more script being flipped type of situation out here. I'm going to be fucked, by the way, if I don't get Derek Carr. I just realized that. If I don't get another quarterback on the turn, I'm going to be in trouble. I probably should have planned for that. Needless to say, Derrick Henry's out, Mike Vrabel's out. Here's my concern, I guess, with the Titans wide receivers at least. As I said, Brian Callahan, offensive coordinator for the Bengals. Tyler Boyd just played under him for the last 5 years. So they go out and sign Calvin Ridley. They go out and sign Tony Pollard. They go out and sign Tyler Boyd. They take a offensive lineman in the first round. You see what they're doing very clearly. They're going towards a very pass-heavy offense. They're going towards an up-tempo offense. They're going towards a spread offense. They are building as much as they can around Will Levis, which is great. It's what you want to do around your young quarterback. However, it makes it really tough to distinguish who is the top pass catcher. Like, Calvin Ridley is getting paid like he's the number one, but D-Hop and Levis have chemistry already, right? They have built-in chemistry from last year. But then you have Tyler Boyd who's coming over. Brian Callahan came in and the first thing he did was sign Tyler Boyd. And they ran 3 wide receiver sets at a very high rate. I believe they were I believe Tennessee was 28th in the NFL in terms of 3 wide receiver set rate last year. And I believe under Brian Callahan, the Bengals were 3rd in terms of number of plays run with 3 wide receiver sets. So we're going to see a massive change in philosophy, obviously, in Tennessee. And it, again, very much like Seattle, it makes it very tough to predict who is going to get the lion's share of targets there. So when I look at D-Hop, when I look at Ridley, I think they both have juice left in the tank. I think they're both obviously very high-quality receivers. I just question what their upside is here. And I think Tyler Boyd's going to be very involved. I think Tyler Boyd is kind of, just getting thrown away, left for dead here. But I also think that Tyler Boyd could have a nice floor. I think he's going to be running routes 70% of the time, 75% of the time. So can we please, God, Derek Carr, please fall to me. Never in my life would I think I'd be banking on Derek Carr following me to complete a team. I shouldn't have done this. I didn't need this type of fucking anxiety. DJ Sharky, baby. Come on. 5 more picks, 6 more picks. And again, if you guys have hung out for this long, hit the button that looks like this down below, please. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy these videos. We'll be doing them every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. It'll kind of flip and flop depending on my plans. Actually, I'll be in Minnesota next weekend for Sexy's wedding. So maybe not next weekend, but whatever. We'll figure it out. And again, if you're new to Underdog, this is the best. No! Spark! You fucking cunt! Shit. Now I have to run with fucking Bryce? Oh, no. Oh, boy. I guess I'll go 3 quarterbacks then, huh? Nah, fuck that. I ain't doing it. I won't do it. The government won't get me. Fuck. I don't even know. I don't have a single player that I want. I hate everyone. Fucking Jalen Tolbert, I guess. Oh no. Um, we were one pick away. We were one away. Why would you draft him? Why would you draft him? You already have A. Rich. You already have Geno Smith. I have Chris Olave. I have Rashid Shaheed. You don't even have a fucking stack with him. It's not even like you took Juwan Johnson. You don't have a single player on the fucking Saints. Spark City. Spark City. I would spark your fucking house on fire right now if I could find out who the fuck you were. But since I'm partnered with Underdog, maybe they will give me your information and I'll come find you. And since I'm partnered with Underdog, they have a phenomenal promo going live right now that if you use our code BDGE first time depositing, not only are they going to hit you with the deposit match so you can draft some puppies with me, but you'll get our draft guide absolutely free. Goes live August 1st. Shit finna be a movie. This is the most upset anyone has ever been over not drafting Derek Carr. I knew it was going to happen. Like, that was like, it was the most obvious. I've been doing these streams for a long time. I've never seen something more obvious about to happen than Derek Carr getting picked at 17-10 when I need him at the fucking 12. I said 12. God damn it. Never bet on the Jets. Is how I operate. It's probably won you a lot of money in your life. So I want to talk about how good the Panthers will be. Absolutely not. Actually, fun fact, Dylan. I was looking at, because in our tiebreaker, one of the tools, one of the things that we are working on for the draft guide is the tiebreaker matrix. And I'm thinking about cool things to add into them that might be tiebreakers for people. And listen, every customer segment is different. Now, some people want stats. Some people want to say like, hey, I want to only take players that have really good offensive lines. So that will be in the tiebreaker matrix. However, one angle I thought about was sometimes when you're deciding between two players, you like to take guys that you'll be able to watch on TV. So one of the metrics that we are thinking about, that we're toying with whether or not we'd want in the tiebreaker matrix, is the number of primetime games for the number of primetime games for each player. And the reason I bring that up is because you want to talk about how good the Panthers will be. Fun fact, the Carolina Panthers are the only team in the NFL this year with 0 primetime games. Every other team has at least one. There are 3 teams that have 6 primetime games. The Panthers are the only team in the NFL with 0 fucking primetime games this year. So you want to talk about how good the Panthers will be? I can't, because they're fucking horrendous. They're the worst team in the world. Where the fuck is the team that I just drafted? Okay, there we go. Think Tolbert has a better chance to not be a 0 than almost everyone else in those rounds because he plays for Dallas. I agree. And Dallas is, listen, for as much as I love Dak Prescott this year, and I will continue to draft him, they're a very fragile offense. Like, behind CeeDee Lamb, if CeeDee Lamb were to get hurt, they quickly become a team that needs playmakers to step up rapidly. Like, they've got nothing. Brandon Cooks could be good. We might be hanging on to the fact that he scored 8 touchdowns last year. He might not have that much juice left. And behind him, they got nothing on the depth chart. Nothing on the D chart, man. So Tolbert could emerge. Somebody could emerge. I don't know. Jalen Hurts over Allen, though? Yes. I have Hurts ranked over Josh Allen this year. Josh Allen's phenomenal, obviously. He's the GOAT. But here's the thing. When you lose your top 2 pass catchers, things change. Do we remember Josh Allen prior to Stephon Diggs? It wasn't that long ago. If you use the code Underdog, what else do we have to do to get the draft guide? Nothing. As long as you deposit it on there, you guys will get emailed access and instructions right before the draft guide goes live, which goes August 1st. So you'll be hearing from us in the days leading up to that. Sound a little scared of the Panthers. I'm more scared of I've got nothing good to say right now. I have nothing funny or witty to say. I'm more scared of I gotta go to bed. What are your thoughts on the Patriots offense? Which wide receiver will step up? It sounds like the first crack at the starting receiver jobs are going to be Jalen Polk, Pop Douglas, and who's the third? It wasn't Javon Baker, to my surprise. Maybe Kendrick Bourne. He's not really an outside receiver. So if Pop Douglas is the guy, I don't really see Kendrick Bourne playing much. Who am I forgetting? Someone else on the what are your thoughts on the Patriots? It's not an offense I want to invest into. It's not an offense I want to invest into unless I'm getting guys in like the 11th, 12th plus round. Ramondre, I don't mind Jalen Polk late. I definitely like Pop Douglas in the 12th to 14th range. Javon Baker as a flyer late is okay with me. Hunter Henry as a flyer late is cool with me too. So here's the final team. Obviously, we got absolutely fucked sideways with the quarterbacks. KJ Osborne, there you go. KJ Osborne stain. Jalen Hurts, Bryce Young. Tried to get Derek Carr, missing by 2 spots because I have 2 New Orleans Saints wide receivers. Running backs, Pacheco, Rashad White, James Conner, Jerome Ford, Khalil Herbert. Love that room. Wide receivers, we've got Puka, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, Rashid Shaheed, Jerry Jeudy, Demario Douglas, Marcus Robinson, Tyler Boyd, Jalen Tolbert, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert. Nicholas, does pace of play of an offense take into account with the draft guide? Yep, pace of play, offensive pace for the individual offense and the player that you're looking at will be one of the tiebreaker metrics. Absolutely. So, again, the cheapest way to get the draft guide is through Underdog Fantasy, depositing with our code BDGE, $10 or more. If you are not eligible for that, it is pre-order pricing until August 1st right now on bdge.co. All right? I'll just guide you there so I could show you. bdge.co. You will see the 2024 draft guide right here. Bang. So you can pre-order here. As you can see, this is not the finalized item of the tiebreaker matrix, but this will give you an idea. Like when you're on the clock and you're trying to decide between a few different running backs, when you're trying to decide between any players, you'll be able to select multiple players at once. It'll give you an idea of like, all right, cool. Do they have a good offensive line? Are they in a fast-paced offense? Do they have a good fantasy playoff schedule? That kind of shit, all right? So it'll help you hopefully make that decision on the spot. All right, bdg.co, Underdog Fantasy. That is the stream for today. I love y'all. I will see you Monday morning, bright and early. Wow. Sucks to suck. Damn, Kels. No need to do them like that.